This is where we kind of go through and we do a quick little recap of our monthly newsletter that we send out, as well as just kind of talk about some other things and topics that may come in mind and get a little bit more beyond the email. Hey, it's Ross from Northern Technology Services, and thanks for tuning in to this edition of Ross's Corner. So to kind of go through, some of the things we talked about here originally, our Streamlining Success Guide to a Task Automation for Small Enterprises, Small Businesses, and how this can boost efficiency, reduce errors, save you money, improve customer service, and enhance your scalability. So when we think of that, we think of even like simple things. If you're still using a standalone credit card reader in your restaurant or retail store, I see this often a lot. And if you sit down, and oftentimes we find out that the savings, if we switch to an integrated processor, will equal out a savings based on errors and time spent for your staff members to take those numbers and punch in those totals, make sure the totals match what's on the screen, go swipe the card, and then to go manually batch out and do that data entry that, okay, this is the credit card payments that were then applied to this, and making sure statements match up. So that's like, that's an example of very small when it comes to task automation. Then we also, this leads into unmasking the true price of IT downtime, and then, discussing some of the top office trends which can help you adapt and improve your workflows, and some of the things you should consider before buying used laptops. And one big thing, and I know we've seen a huge increase of people wanting to purchase used and refurbished, items, and we see a lot of purchases. I actually had seen one personally. This was a personal purchase from a friend of mine I knew. He was so excited. He's like, "Hey, I got these, new Dell computers, and they're refurbished, but they're supposed to be new." And we look at it, and they're actually using these were actually 5-year-old machines. That unfortunately now he's purchased these and he's had them for only a few months now. And this also kind of transitions us into the next topic here. Is not eligible for Windows 11 next year in October when Windows 10 hits end of life. So you got to be very, very careful when you're out there purchasing. So, like, for example, for us, for refurbs, mind you, I've been doing this for 9 years now. We've gone through a lot of refurbs. There was even to a point where we're not even going to mess with refurbs because the quality of the items we got, it was so tough, making sure that we got the right quality, and there's so much time involved into that. But now, so lately, over the last year, we've been following this organization for quite a few years now, out of Florida, and we've been working with them, and they've been hooking us up with some great refurbished equipment. Everything is pretty much grade A, and now the grading system, that's, the quality, so A is good, B, minor blemishes, C is, real damage like dents, things like that, and making sure that we've got good quality, and these guys do a great job of tracking it, as well as they also back a 3-year advanced replacement. So if anything does happen to that refurbished machine, they're going to go ahead and they warranty that machine out for 3 years. So, so if you are going to, be on the hunt, and want to go the DIY avenue of finding a refurbished device, please do your homework. Make sure they have a good return policy. Make sure they have a good warranty policy. And be prepared for that. Some of the things to look out for are you're going to need a Generation 10 or newer processor. TPM, is a requirement with Windows 11. And, there's these changes with that landscape, so it's making it more important to make sure that if you do need to go that route or want to go that route of a refurbished, lower cost unit like that, that's still going to have the capability to actually do the things you need for your day-to-day tasks, to make sure know that all those boxes are checked. And that's kind of a hot topic, so you're going to hear a lot over the, basically from here on out, constant reminders. Windows 10 is ending soon. Windows 10 is ending soon. Server 2019 is ending soon. Exchange 2019 is ending soon. Everything is ending in October of 2025. We are officially 1 year out from that mark. It's time to sit down and it's time to, start getting those upgrades done, especially if we haven't yet. And also into that, we're going to segue over into, one of the other things we kind of talk about. We've got a great article on this. 8 tips to safeguard your gadgets. We're getting into the holidays. We're getting into fall. We're getting into traveling. We're getting into, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we're getting into, this season. We're running, dodging snowflakes, heading south. Everyone that's in the area watching this. And, so make sure that you're going through and doing that. So I'm actually going to kind of go through a couple of those tips here real quick. Obviously, first off the case, use protective cases on your phones. My iPhone, I've got an iPhone 14 here. I've dropped it so many times, and I've dropped it traveling, and I always keep a case on this. Yes, they're a lot stronger than they used to be. I mean, I think the little tempered glass shield, that's kind of a waste of money. That's my personal opinion, but the actual case itself, it's going to protect you. Utilize tracking apps, making sure you have Find My enabled on your Apple device, or Find My device for your Android device. Make sure you have that turned on and enabled. I can't stress that enough. Keeping your devices close, making sure that you're always checking for them. Try not to put them in checked luggage. And, and I'm going to go back into that leverage tracking apps, don't take it, don't set it out on a table or something like that. If you're sitting at a restaurant, someplace in a foreign country or a big city or anything. I actually have a personal story. I know a gentleman, he went down to, he was actually in Chicago. He was on vacation, having a good old time. And not thinking, so used to Northern Michigan, he had his phone sitting out on the table, and he was using a MagSafe wallet, so his cards, all that stuff was attached to his phone. A gentleman that came by selling flowers, and looked down, and his phone was gone with his money. And fortunately, because he was leveraging Find My and with the tracking apps, he actually was able to kind of slightly track the location of his device, but which then led to him actually using it to completely disable his device and wipe all of his information off of there. And so while he then proceeded to go find an Apple store and go get a new phone and start calling and getting all of his stuff replaced. Because unfortunately in a big city like that, even with the tracking, things like that, it's a tough battle to even hope to recover those items. Use strong passwords. Don't keep your sticky note with your password. In general, don't ever use sticky notes for your password, but I know there's one person that's watching this and you're using a sticky note to keep track of your password. Do not keep that in the same bag with your devices, please. Because if somebody does take those devices and they have your little sticky note that's right here, unfortunately, well, yeah, right? So please use strong passwords. Please don't keep that information together if you're still writing it down on a piece of paper. I highly recommend, if you're not, just use a password manager program, or just keep rereading it 455 times and get that thing glued in your brain. Be cautious when using public Wi-Fi. This is a big one, especially in airports, things like that. Obviously, making sure that you back up your data before you go, just to be on the safe side. Or who knows, accidents happen. Anti-theft accessories, things like that, those help out a lot. Locks and cables, and just make sure you keep track of it. So hey, be careful, be safe out there. There's going to be a lot of this, a lot of everybody, scrambling, grabbing, throwing their iPads, throwing their Android tablets, all that stuff in their bags and traveling. So please, be careful, be mindful, stay diligent, have a good trip, enjoy it. You deserved it. You worked hard. Go for it. Just take that extra step and extra precaution. and I'm going to wrap that up. This turned into a tangent. Hey, I'm sorry. But there's so many times, another case and scenario. We had a client, they were out working, they were down in Texas, and, they're out there for a while working on projects. And unfortunately, their vehicles, their whole fleet, their vehicles got robbed. And with that, obviously, we're talking thousands of dollars worth of tools. But again, they left their tablets in their vehicle. Don't leave your electronics in your vehicles, please. That is, take that into the hotel room with you. Even if you're like, I'm not gonna need my laptop with me. We're done now for the night, and now it's time to relax, and it's family time. Please just take it into the hotel room with you, please. Can't stress this enough, because if your car gets broken into, especially if it's a rental, the last thing you want is something like that to get taken. Because hey, if it's a rental, then at least it's not your problem, right? Obviously, if it's your own car, we don't want your own car to get broken into, but better be safe than sorry. So that's super important. With that, I'm gonna really get this wrapped up. Hey, October's here. I love it. I hope you love it too. Halloween decorations are up in my house. We're getting there. We're getting ready for the holidays and the fun. Obviously, and also getting into the wrap up for the end of the year and really, getting that and make sure everybody's up to par. There's a couple, cool things going on coming up that I do want to talk about and just say, hey, if you get a chance, check out the Fort Michilimackinac Fort Fright. That's starting up. I believe the Downtown Petoskey Kids Trick or Treating is going to be on the 26th this year, in October. And I've been hearing some things. I think it's still happening. The Haunted, I'm going to check it out right now. The Decaying Swamp. Sorry, that's the right name. The Decaying Swamp. This thing is up in Wolverine. I'm personally making a thing to take the Fam Jam over there, and we're going to go check that out. Hey, so let's have some fun. Let's get into October. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you got any questions, feel free to reach out. If you want to get more information or, get copied on the email, the newsletter version, make sure to just send an email into info@ntsmanage.com. And thanks for hanging out. Have a great day. Bye now.